I'm Joe Jacobson at Wycombe Wanderers, and you're listening to Wycombe Sound.
The Wycombe Wanderers Show.
Welcome to the penultimate Wycombe Wanderers Show of the season, although in previous years we have had a last one and then we had another one after that. So anything can happen, but next week due to be the last one. This week, plenty to chat through. We've got our match briefing with Phil in a few moments' time. We'll look back at the draw against Cambridge on Tuesday night, and of course we'll look ahead to the final game of the League One campaign, the battle for 10th place with Leyton Orient, although the game of course is at home to Charlton, and much to look forward to there, with club captain Joe Jacobson making his 400th and final appearance for the team as well. A brilliant opportunity for that to be celebrated on Saturday at Adams Park. As I say, we'll hear from Phil in a few moments' time. We'll catch up with manager Matt Bloomfield. Also on the show this week, we'll hear from Keith Searle, who is a former striker who's bagged many a goal and will be at the game on Saturday to see his name unveiled on an honours board by the Wycombe Wanderers Ex-Players Association, which should be a fantastic occasion and a great way to commemorate the contribution of many Wycombe Wanderers ex-players over the season. Next week on the show, we'll do our now traditional compilation of some of the brilliant names that we've spoken to, certainly this year, this calendar year, because we did one at Christmas, didn't we, for the early part of the season. Haven't quite decided yet, but I'm sure there'll be people who you'll be familiar with in that as well. So that's coming up next week. We'll hear from Mark Gaitskell, the Chief Executive of Wycombe Wanderers Foundation. You might have heard in the news recently that they'll be taking over the running of Wycombe Wanderers Women, and also they launched a brilliant new initiative which kicks off next month called Blue Arrows. It's to do with dance, you know. I don't think Luke Littler's involved, but he might. We're not ruling it out. If you see him in a Wycombe Wanderers shirt, you'll know what's happened. But apparently some of the foundation team do have dance connections. Interesting. Also, speaking of Wycombe Wanderers Women, we'll catch up with Craig to assess what's been an interesting sort of end to the season as well. On next week's show, we'll be chatting to manager Carl Simon as well, so that'll be very good. Lots to look forward to in the coming hour and also next week as well. But first, as always, let's catch up with Phil, who was part of the team on the train on Saturday. They had a whole carriage to themselves going to Carlisle. But how would you sum up this season, would you say, or this end of the season at this present time?
Exhaustion. It's been a long season, really. It's been quite eventful. There's been ups and downs and long journeys, certainly of late as well. So generally quite tired actually. But you know, it's been a positive end to the season, which I think is really, really important.
No, absolutely, so pleasing. And of course, looking back briefly at the Cambridge game, which I think had more on it for the host, of course, but with their survival. But fantastic that, you know, the unbeaten run continues. The points tally from the sort of latest cluster of games, if you like, and as you say, a really good end to the season.
Yeah, it's quite nice to be sort of voyeur in this situation. It was the same at Port Vale last Tuesday, where, you know, hugely important game for Port Vale and also for Cambridge on Tuesday. And yet we're there sort of trying to add to our points tally and get into the top half of the table, which feels rather trivial when you compare it to sort of trying to survive in the division. But it's lovely to be on that side of it. We've tasted the other side of that situation, and it's not nice. Even when you survive, it's incredibly stressful, but then there is that moment of jubilation at the end. I think Cambridge will have their moment of jubilation. And in fact, it was nearly there last night. There was 5 minutes of abject jubilation until we got the penalty near the end to kind of burst the balloon a bit. What was really interesting was as soon as the ball hit the back of the net, it was Wycombe players sprinting into the goal to get the ball back and retrieve it to try and force a winner in the final five or so minutes, and then the added time as well, which was fascinating to see because away from home, fourth away game on the trot, it was 10 points ultimately out of a possible 12, which I think is a really fantastic tally when you consider the schedule, the journeys, etc. But yeah, it was really lovely to see the hunger in the boys to try and get that winning goal last night. And I think it really sort of adds to the division as well. And obviously Cambridge were probably not quite so keen to see that, but they had their chances as well. It was a decent game, but one I think ultimately that was disappointment we hadn't won it. I think we'd done enough to do it, and but yeah, a point and an unbeaten stretch at the end of the season I think is very good and very important.
I'm really nice to see Luke Leahy on the score sheet, who's had a great season as well and showed his versatility in playing in different positions too.
Yes, yeah, left back again last night, and double figures for him now in the league for goals, which from a player that's played the majority of those games in the defence, either on the left-hand side of a three or left wing-back, the odd appearance here in midfield as well. But majority of his actions been at the back. I think that was probably quite a surprise to him and possibly even the gaffer too, from the position at the start of the season. But yeah, he's been a great character around the place and, top goal scorer so far, unless something really dramatic happens on the final day of the season. But yeah, it's a great return for him. And of course, he's got a long-term future with Wycombe Wanderers. We're approaching that period, aren't we, where players and fans alike will be sort of nervously looking around, seeing what's going to happen with contract situations, etc. But we know that Luke is firmly contracted to Wycombe Wanderers, and it's great to have him about.
And probably more appearances on the Ringing the Blues programme for next season, we'd hope as well.
You would hope so. Yes, absolutely. It's it's someone we've had to really bring out of his shell. Very shy man. But as the season's gone on, we've really got to know Luke Leahy very well.
No, especially rewarding for him after the injury that you had and the way he's recovered from that too.
Yes, yeah, let's not forget as well. It's quite that was a horrible game, wasn't it? Back in November. That's we lost Brandon Hanlon to his anterior cruciate ligament injury that game for the rest of the season, and Luke a really worrying injury, and he's recovered fantastically well from that. But that was a horrible day. That was probably the worst point of the season, I think, in terms of game action and having to watch and etc. That was really worrying times for everybody. But that's just one of the many bumps in the road that we've had this season. But Matt Bloomfield's looking up, as are the rest of the squad, and it was good to speak to him again last night after this fourth away game on the trot.
I thought first half we were excellent, really, really good. I thought we played some real good football. It's as dominant as we've been, hit the bar, had multiple opportunities to go and get the first goal. The only slight disappointment, I guess, was that we weren't ahead. But some of the football we played and the way we picked off Cambridge's shape, I thought we were very good. And to then show the character, the game got a bit messy second half. Obviously, disappointing goal to give away, too simple from my point of view. But to show the character, to go and get a penalty, and come back, I thought we were very good. So really pleased to 3 wins and a draw out of the 4 games we would have taken that at the start of the run.
And so this was a big occasion as well, and you could really feel that when Cambridge got in front, because that goal, as it stood, made them safe, but then it got edgy. Yeah,
I always think it's a really good atmosphere here, always a real good atmosphere, a very well supported club, and it's never an easy game for us. Whenever we've come here, it's always been tough, and I thought the crowd were very, very good for Cambridge tonight, and they really responded to that, and it was always going to be a tough game because Cambridge needed the point to get themselves safe. Obviously with Cheltenham winning, that changes it slightly, but at that point they were safe, and they've got some real good players, and the way they played made it tough for us. But again, to show the character to come back and be unbeaten from these 4 games, I'm really proud of the players because we had a tough spell, and the way they've played and performed since the turn of the year has been admirable, and it just shows the quality we've got within the group and the excitement I have for us moving forward.
10 points from a possible 12 on the road is excellent, but when they equalised at the back of the net, it was Wycombe sprinting back to the halfway line with the ball to go for the 3.
Yeah, the one thing we've spoken about as a group is that we played Shrewsbury, Port Vale, less so Carlisle because they're already relegated, in Cambridge, teams that wanted points, needed points, and whilst the one thing I wanted to come away from every game is not being able to pick which team needed the points and which team didn't necessarily, because I wanted us to play with that intensity, that need to keep improving, the need to keep moving forward. Is how we feel about ourselves, and the boys at this point, I think they wanted to win tonight, and I think the way we played and the energy we played with showed that. So you can't win every game. We have to be very respectful of the way Cambridge played and performed, but I think we did enough to win the game.
And how was it recovering from Carlisle on Saturday, longest away trip of the season in a spell of away games? How was it turning this round?
Yeah, I think, I don't know the number of changes we made tonight, not as many as I don't think the other games. It's just about trying to keep the energy on the pitch, and massive thank you to Rob for putting us on a train on Friday on the way up and a train on the way back Saturday. I thought it worked extremely well. It just made us able to get back quicker from Carlisle. It was easier for the boys to recover. We turned them around as quickly as we could, picked the team that we thought could hurt Cambridge and hit in wide areas, especially with playing against the back three. So, yeah, I thought we were very good, and like I say, it was a quick turnaround, and we've got another one ready for Saturday.
You've been utilising the whole squad. What have you learnt about the squad now in this period?
I've learnt loads. Some, I can share. Some I need to keep private. I think thoughts and feelings going into the summer period. The togetherness. I think we speak a lot about it here, certainly over the years, and every football club wants to say that the squad's together. There's been times in this season where it hasn't quite been the unity that we really feel is important, but like I say, since the turn of year it's just been growing. Everyone's had to play their part. Everyone has certainly contributed in a massive way. We've learnt a lot about who we are and what we want to be moving forward. I've had a vision and a dream from pre-season, and at times it's looked like where we want to go, and at times it hasn't, because you have peaks and troughs during the season, but we're looking like the type of side we want to be, and I'm really excited for what can be after the summer period.
The point was enough to get you into 10th place. Was that a big psychological boost?
Yes, the boys have spoken about it before the game. It's been driven by them about wanting to get to 10th place, because they're an ambitious group. On another day, on another season, with the expected points and the goals that we could have had at other times, we feel like we could be higher and really challenging for what other teams are doing at this point, but it wasn't to be for us this year. So to show that ambition to get in the top 10, and be achieving above where we should be, we have to be pleased with that. To do that and to get a Wembley appearance with the transitions that we've had this season has been ended up being a good season for us.
And after all the coaches, hotels, trains, etc., you must be looking forward to getting back to Adams Park.
Yeah, really excited for that, because we've been away for seems like an age, and to see off the season in front of our home fans, early kick-off. The players will all have their families there and kids, and I hope our fans are looking forward to it. Hopefully the sun's out, and we're looking forward to JJ making his 400th appearance for this club, and an amazing day for him and his family to enjoy. So yeah, amongst all of that, we want to win. We want to turn up and perform the way we have. I want our supporters to go into the summer after watching a good performance. So let's turn the boys round. We'll pick a team that we believe can go and win the game, and we've got a tough one against a very good Charlton team. Nathan's done a great job since he's gone in there. So we're up against a very good team, but we're not bad ourselves, and we're looking forward to it.
Great to hear from the manager, as always, and it's interesting, isn't it? It's strange in a way to think that we're approaching the final game of the season, and we had Jack Grimmer on the show recently as well, and he was saying it's nice to end at home.
Yes, especially after the run we've just had. So, it's be great to put a show on for the home fans too. We've got a big club coming in Charlton. Their fans will be incredibly disappointed, but I think with their lowest ever finish in this division, and they're certainly not enjoying their time in League One, although they've possibly got the right manager now to mount a big challenge next season, but they'll no doubt be looking forward to the end of this season too. But big game at Adams Park, because Wycombe Wanderers can cement their place in the top 10, which I think psychologically is important. I know obviously that doesn't make any difference to anyone anywhere at the bottom or at the end of the table, but to finish in that top 10, get a major cup final under your belt as well, that's seen that I think is a good season. Certainly when you put it into the context of Matt's first full year as a manager and what's gone on during that year too, I think that's a really, really positive outcome. And Charlton are well behind us in that respect. But yeah, it's between us and Leyton Orient, the big battle for 10th, as no one is billing it. But it's really important for Wycombe, the players and the staff, and I'm sure the fans too.
A great opportunity for supporters to mark a real milestone as well in terms of the club captain.
Yeah. The announcement's come out this week, isn't it? Joe Jacobson. I think a lot of people suspected it was coming, and he's going to bow out, I think, on his 400th Wycombe Wanderers appearance, which is just a great way to sign off. We've spoken at length, haven't we, over the season about JJ's contribution to the club in his testimonial year. 99 goal contributions, 55 assists and 44 goals. So the fairy tale finish surely is him popping in the direct corner, isn't it? On Saturday in front of the terrace. That would be lovely. But whatever happens on Saturday, it is just an end of an era. I would say most Wycombe Wanderers fans, when they do their ultimate Wycombe Wanderers 11, have got JJ in at left back. I know I have, and he's just been a brilliant servant to the club on and off the pitch. He's a great leader, a great captain. He's been around the block for Wycombe Wanderers so many times and achieved so many things, and he was always there at the big moments. And there was no bigger moment than that time at Wembley. And there was no one else you would want to take that penalty in that situation. than Joe. So, yeah, he'll always be in Wycombe folklore, absolutely. And we're all intrigued to see what comes next.
And Saturday, of course, also a great opportunity for fans to really celebrate the contribution of some of the loan players who we might not be seeing next season either.
Yeah, it's that very much end-of-term vibe, isn't it? Nigel Lonvike, Freddie Potts, Dale Taylor, they've been brilliant, haven't they, on their loan spells this full season. I mean, Nigel just for the second half of the season, but he's played his way into the hearts of the Wycombe fans already. He's that League One Goal of the Month nomination for the overhead kick at Reading. He was excellent last night at Cambridge as well. He's been superb. Freddie Potts as well. It's been a joy to watch him play week in, week out. He had that injury in the middle of the season, and it was no real surprise that our drop-off in form and results kind of coincided with that. And Dale Taylor too, in his first sort of season, full season at one club. He had that loan spell at Burton last season, but, a decent return from him. Probably in a system that we were playing that he wasn't really bought in for, so he's had to adapt a little bit and learn the game. But again, a great lad. Always a trier. He's got that goal at Wembley, that memory at Wembley as well. And one of the goals of the season too, as is Freddie Potts away at Charlton. But Dale in the Football League trophy, I think it was against Brighton in front of the empty terrace, but a wonderful solo effort. So yeah, real great memories for Wycombe fans of those players as well. So we'll all look forward to seeing what the future holds for them. As we do for all the loanies that grace the quarters, they'll always have a place in our hearts, and we'll always claim full responsibility for anything they go on to achieve in the game.
And also nice to really applaud what the manager has done as well in his first full season in charge, because he's come out at the end really well.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing as well is the adaptability of it all, because there's been some really tough times, and I think that's the managerial rite of passage, and not everybody gets through those for whatever reason. Either they can't adapt, or they can't change, or the club doesn't have the patience or the time to allow them to. And I think Wycombe Wanderers down the years have always provided that supportive platform and time, and they've done so with Matt Bloomfield, and he's repaid them. It's unrecognisable from where we were January and December. We had a really good window, and since then, the form has been excellent. The form table backs it up, and it's been great to watch. When you look around, a lot of the changes that have been made in League One, Port Vale, when we were meant to play that game back in January, the original game before it was frozen off, both clubs were on 30 points, both sort of in the bottom half of the table. Port Vale pulled the trigger, got rid of the manager, got Darren Moore in, didn't get the bounce they were looking for. It came late, it's come too late for them, and they've been relegated. Wycombe stuck with the manager, and it's come good. So obviously every club's different, every situation's different, but we've seen this story before with Gareth Ainsworth. Obviously this one isn't quite as dramatic as what happened with Gaz, but the foundations are there: time, ability to adapt, support, etc. These are all the hallmarks of our club in the recent eras, and it's great to see them coming to the fore again. And it's great to see Matt learn the ropes with us. There's no other club that Wycombe fans are wanting to do it at, and I don't think there's any single person out there that the fans want to succeed more than Matt Bloomfield.
And also, as we said on the show before, but a real credit to Rob and to Pete for sort of sticking with him as well.
Look, social media and football fans are very vocal, aren't they? And it takes some real leadership and resolve to stick to your guns. And Wycombe Wanderers did that, and I'm very much glad they did. And yeah, I think the strength of Rob and Pete has been excellent, and the leadership in that situation too.
And how would you really sum up this season? What's your kind of takeaway from it?
I think it's been that journey really, because like I said earlier on, it's been quite nice to enjoy these games against teams down the bottom and the top. When Derby were coming in to Adams Park, when the pressure was really on the result. Look, we'd all love to be in those situations at the right end of the table, but the wrong end of the table last night and at Port Vale, it was kind of nice to not be in that situation and see what it was about. We've had to have a big transitional season. I think it was required. It was always going to be the case after Gareth left that we would need to have a big cycle of change. And that's taken place now over a calendar year, and it will be a full season by the end of Saturday as well. And the club's come a long, long way, and I think that's the takeaway from this season is how far we've come and how much we've changed. And we needed to, because the personnel have changed, and we need to adapt to new philosophy, a new identity, and we're a really long way to achieving that now, which is fantastic.
I must apologise, this is rather putting you on the spot, but do you have a particular highlight or favourite moment, perhaps a goal that you've seen, or an occasion, or a moment, or something?
That's an interesting one. I think, the away game at Reading somehow felt massive to me, because it was before we knew what was coming with the off-the-field situation with Reading. But to get our first win there in the club's history, although I know we're not playing them every single year or whatever, but, a big, well-supported club, they've got their well-documented problems, etc., but they've got a decent side and a fantastic manager. So to go there and win, I think, was a really good springboard for the run that we've been on. And in the manner in which we did it as well, I thought was excellent. Both goals, Nigel's goal we spoke about earlier on, but Bez as well, with the high pressure penalty. That was a really, really fantastic away day, one I really, really enjoyed as well. So to me, that was a great day.
And obviously some of the great contributions that you've had from some of your co-commentators as well have been really memorable too. Yeah,
and as I always say, when it comes to current players who come up to the commentary box, it's really all down to Nick Freeman, really, because he kind of reinvented that role. It was a role that was always a pain, where players didn't feel comfortable or want to do it, and then they saw the impact Nick had and his relationship with the fans as a result of doing it, and it's now become a really desirable thing for them to do. There's obviously a touch of misfortune about a player being up there, because it means they're not in the team for whatever reason, but it's great to have them with me, because they've got that insight as a player. They understand the system, they understand the characters involved, they understand why things happen, which is really, really important in a co-commentator. So to have a player up there alongside us is brilliant as a guide through. And that's not taking anything away from anyone else that's done it as well. We've had a full range of characters again this year, and they've all been brilliant in their own individual ways. So big thanks to everybody that's been up there.
Well, I must say a huge thank you as well to you for your contribution to this show throughout the season. I think you've been ever present, not out through injury or illness or travel issues, and also for your excellent commentaries, obviously, throughout the season as well. Do enjoy the final game.
I will do. Thank you, Colin. Thank you for all you do as well.
Really grateful for Phil's contribution to the show this season. He'll be bringing you the whole match live on Saturday, so if you can't get to Adams Park, you'll hear it on Wycombe Sound on 106.6 and on Wanderers TV as well. You'll get full match build-up from midday with Rob and the team in the car park, and the post-match show as well to look forward to, of course. Wycombe Wanderers against Charlton Athletic. Do check out Wanderers TV, and of course pre-match drills. You'll get the full interview with Matt that you heard a short while ago as well, and lots more as well, including a great feature with Joe Jacobson looking back on his 10 years at the club. Lots to look forward to on this week's Wycombe Wanderers Show as well. Part 2 on the way here on Wycombe Sound.
The Wycombe Wanderers Show, Thursdays from 7.
106.6 FM, Wycombe Sound.
Still to come on this week's edition of the Wycombe Wanderers Show, the penultimate. Well, it's due to be. We'll hear from Mark Gaitskell, who's the Chief Executive of Wycombe Wanderers Foundation. We'll chat to Craig from Wycombe Wanderers Women as well. But first, our regular slot thanks to Wycombe Wanderers Ex-Players Association, coming towards the end of the season. We've got our compilation next week. But this week we're hearing from Keith Searle, who was fortunate enough to meet at the Wycombe Wanderers Ex-Players Association dinner. Had him on the show as well before. Brilliant to share his memories and also celebrate and commemorate the fact that on Saturday he'll be a guest at the ground for the unveiling of an honours board, which will feature his name, something which, as I'm sure you can appreciate, he's very pleased about.
The thing is that Wycombe have got a very good history, and I'm very honoured to be recognised as a very small part of that history. But yes, I'm humbled, and that's very good.
And it was fantastic to catch up with you at the Ex-Players Association dinner as well, and so many, sort of your, former teammates, but also, before and after you as well, who've achieved so much. And as you say, great to be part of that exclusive club, if you like.
Yeah, it's always good. I always try to get down there when I can. Obviously, the dinner is important. I often go to the golf day as well, but to see some of the old boys is very good. Good memories.
Is that especially nice for you to kind of reflect on, what you all sort of went through together?
Well, yeah, I mean, I joined the club in 1969, and I stayed there till 1975. I left a couple of times, but I came back. But we were a good team, but we were a team of individuals that actually got on very well. And that's, in my view, that is one of the reasons why we were so successful, because we got on the field and off the field, and we worked as a team. And I was fortunate enough to play with some very good players.
Do you realise at the time, do you think, oh, this is quite special, or is it not till afterwards when you've got to look back and think what you achieved?
I mean, you know, at my time of life, I mean, I'm 76 now, but there's two things that are very important to me. One is my family, obviously, but the other thing is my memories. And, you know, often, because I'm a retired person, I look back and I reflect, and some of the very happiest memories I have been and playing for Wycombe Wanderers Football Club.
And as you say, it's fantastic to have that shared experience, you know, with your teammates, and it must be great to reminisce with them as well.
Fantastic, yeah. I mean, I've been very fortunate. You know, I've played for other clubs. I mean, the boys ribbed me because they called me a soccer mercenary because I went to one or two other clubs. But I've been very fortunate in my football career. You know, I've been successful wherever I've been. You know, whatever club I've played for, I've always seems to be in a winning team, and you know, that's been good. So, yeah.
What would you say were some of the real highlights of your time at Wycombe?
Well, obviously, playing for a successful club. You know, we had Brian Lee. Brian Lee obviously built the team, and he had a very good basis, you know, at the beginning. But you know, he cast his net further afield and brought in some other players. One of which was me. But we become successful, and then that breeds success, and other players want to come to you. You know, but one of my most was I scored a winning goal. I think it was against Dagenham and Redbridge to win the championship one year. That was very special. But I've got so many special memories. You know, I was fortunate to be picked for England while I was playing for Wycombe Wanderers against West Germany. That was another highlight of my career. You know, playing for Wycombe and representing my country, and was fortunate enough to play at Wembley Stadium, and that was fantastic because that was one of my two ambitions. One was to play at Wembley, and one was to play for England, and I achieved both in the same night, which was very good.
So, what's your memory of that particular occasion?
The first memory was walking on the pitch, because some of the pitches we played on were a bit rough. But when you walked onto Wembley, it was like walking onto your front room carpet. It was fantastic. But the other memory, obviously, is we beat West Germany 1-0, and I scored the goal. So that was fantastic. But when you look at the England setup, we had all amateur players. We was all affiliated to amateur teams. When you look at the West Germany side, all their players were affiliated to professional, Eintracht Frankfurt, Borussia Mönchengladbach, people like that. Two people who played in that West Germany team, one of them was Uli Stilicher and the other one was Dieter Müller, and they went on to become full-time professional world champions for Germany. So that was fantastic.
No, really brilliant that you got to play against those sort of names, especially at that stage in their career. And something else which really stands out from speaking to other, you know, former players as well, is some of the tours that the teams went on as well.
Oh yeah, as I say, I mean, Wycombe to me, I mean, I played for other clubs, but I played golf with guys I played football with 50 years ago. Wycombe is a club that were an extremely friendly club. You know, my family used to come up there, my dad used to come up there. And we all used to socialise after the game. And you say everybody used to get on. And I think that was one of the reasons why we were so successful. Now, we've got many good memories, and you know, we've lost a lot of our teammates. You know, they've gone, unfortunately, died. But as I said before, the memories for me are fantastic. But the other memories that I've got is the fantastic support we had. I've always said this about Wycombe, you know, they've always had a really good support, and the team now needs support. So, you know, if anybody's listening tonight and they've got nothing to do Saturday, get along and watch Wycombe play against Charlton. I'm sure Matt, would be appreciated for a big crowd for the last game of the season. Just cheer them on, because they've been doing quite well recently.
No, absolutely, and great to see the team being followed in large numbers at Wembley. And as you say, it'd be great to have big crowds back at Adams Park as well.
That's right. Yeah, I'm sure they will, and I'm sure that if Matt's, I think he's turned it around a bit, and hopefully they'll have a better season next season, and with more success they get bigger crowds. But obviously, managers come and go, players come and go, but there's only one constant, and that's the supporters, the lifeblood of the club. And the more you can get there, the better it is.
No, and also pretty special as it looks like Joe Jacobson will make his 400th appearance as well, which is quite admirable in itself.
Yeah, that's fantastic. When I was playing, there's obviously Mr. Horseman. He made lots of appearances for the club, but I made a few while I was there, and I was fortunate enough to score a few goals, and my record, I think, is 1 goal every 2 games. But the thing is, I was playing with other very good players, and without them, I wouldn't have had to achieve that. But that's the teamwork for you. If the team works for you, you can get individual players that are very good, but if you don't work as a team, you're not going to get anywhere. So that's my philosophy of the game today.
No, absolutely, and obviously since you finished playing at the club, have you always kept an eye out on players who've played in your position at the club?
Yeah, I obviously always I watch the other clubs I played for, but I've always followed Wycombe. Ever since I retired, and I watch for their results. I watch what teams are playing and how they're doing, and they're always foremost in my thoughts, obviously, because I had great association with them.
And as you say, really special with the Ex-Players Association that you can spend time with players that you've known for such a long time as well.
Yeah, that's correct. And I think the Ex-Players Association do an extremely good job. We've got Vinnie Faulkner and Keith Samuels and lots of other people that are involved voluntarily, and they raise a lot of money for very good causes.
A really nice way as well to kind of pass on the stories of what the teams of the past have achieved and been through as well, to get the club to where it is today.
Yeah, no, that's great. It's great that the club are doing that, and I'm very humbled that they've included me in it, but I'm just a very small part of their history, and long may it continue. They've risen from amateur to semi-pro through to the pro league, and long may it continue.
And great that you'll be going to the game on Saturday, although that wasn't a ground that you played at, but it must bring back some great memories for you when you're there.
Oh yeah, of course. It'd be good. I'll be seeing some of the old guys again, which is good, and I can watch the game. Hopefully, cheer them on to a win, and they're finishing a reasonable position in the league, and ready for Matt and the boys to push on for next year.
Do you think you'd like to have played at this time, or do you think when you played was a good time to be playing?
I was quite happy to play when I played. I watch football now, and I'm not over keen on the possession football they play today. I think it's, the passing becomes too much at times, from the goalkeeper to the fullback to the centre half, back to the goalkeeper. It's like 83 passes to get to the halfway line. I'm not saying you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't play beautiful football like Pep Guardiola tries to play at Man City and watch everybody else has followed. But now and again, you have to be a little bit direct. The idea of the game is to score goals, I watch some teams play, and the manager comes out afterwards and he says, we had 86% possession and we had 43 shots at goals. But how did you get on? We lost 1-0. But the idea of the game is to score goals. And unfortunately, sometimes, they over-elaborate, I feel, in the modern game. But there you go, that's just my opinion.
And as you say, it's such a great story, isn't it, that, Matt's the manager now after his long association with the club, and it really looks like he's putting his own stamp on the team and can do great things.
Yeah, no, I think he's getting the balance right. He does like to play football. Gareth before him was a little bit more direct, but I think Matt has got his own philosophy, and I think they play a bit more football, and I think he'll turn them round. I think they'll have a good season next season.
Well, enjoy your day on Saturday. Thank you very much, Steve, for your time.
That's okay. See you Saturday.
The Wycombe Wanderers Show, Thursdays from 7.
106.6 FM, Wycombe Sound.
Final part of this week's Wycombe Wanderers Show. Still to come, we'll hear from Craig to round up activities at Wycombe Wanderers Women for the time being. We'll hear from manager Carl Simon next week. Quite looking forward to that. But first, we'll hear from Mark Gaitskell, who's the Chief Executive of Wycombe Wanderers Foundation. Lots to report there. Coming up, we'll find out about a new darts initiative. We'll speak about Wycombe Wanderers Women, which has now come under their umbrella. But as you'll hear, and when we've spoken to Mark in previous occasions on this show, it's always a busy time for the foundation.
It's continued exciting growth is what I would say. I think the foundation's profile is growing, obviously aided by sort of improved performance on the pitch from the guys, and obviously a great story to get to Wembley. Sadly didn't turn out how we all hoped, but a really sort of a great run by the team, which I think brought eyes to the football club as well, and excitement in the foundation. Most of my team were down at Wembley that day cheering the guys on. So yeah, there's lots happening, and though the season finishes soon, I guess our season is year round.
And great representation for the foundation, of course, bringing the trophy out.
Yeah, we had some lovely community stories on the day. So we were asked kindly by the EFL to put forward a kind of community hero, which we put Kirk Williams, our head of sports participation, who's done a mere 16 years of service to the foundation, which we thought it was great to sort of recognise that. So he took his daughter with him on the day, and they had a really lovely experience, as did our mascot on the day. So the mascot was a participant from our new Premier League Kicks female girls only programme. And that's a pretty new programme. So it's about a month old. So within a month, she's gone on to a new programme and then ended up at Wembley. So she's had a great first month with the foundation too.
And leads us really nicely onto the big news of the Wycombe Wanderers Women coming under the foundation's umbrella after already the great work that you do with young female footballers. Yeah,
it's super exciting. We've just announced that. It just seemed like a no-brainer, to be honest, in terms of our respective structures and goals and objectives just coming together and being stronger together, if you like. So we've got a thriving girls development academy, which runs from sort of age 6-7 years old up to kind of 16s, and then it stopped, and that programme's bursting at the seams. We need more venues, more coaches, and then the women's team runs from 18s up to first team. So we thought, well, why not connect the dots and create a complete pathway, which we've labelled from sort of first kick to first team, which is really exciting. So in essence, a young female player could have her first football experience with us, do really well, develop her skills, etc., stay with us what would be probably quite a long time, and then end up potentially playing for Wycombe Wanderers Women, which I think is a really lovely story. It's not that wasn't already happening at all. We've had some talented players come through our GDA, and then we've signposted them to the women's team. But it's really great to kind of be able to formalise that, and the women's team to come underneath the foundation banner for us to work together to achieve some lofty ambitions.
And really great news for the future of the women's team as well.
Yeah, look, I think so. I think we've got a female football development manager in-house who's going to have a significant input onto the programme, which benefits the on-pitch delivery team who are focused obviously on training, playing and performance, if you like. So we're putting some things in place that can hopefully enhance and level up the programme so that we can recruit more players, improve the things that are in place for them to be able to perform and go for promotion and not one but multiple promotions, I would say is the goal.
No, absolutely, a real solid foundation for the future. That's not supposed to be a pun, but but it does work quite well.
Oh, it does. I've not heard that one before.
But also, it's so nice to kind of really be able to highlight some of the great work that you do. I know that the street soccer program, for example, has received recognition recently.
Yeah, so that was again a new program last year that that started with really low numbers actually. So we only had a couple on our first cohort. And I've got to give a shout out to one of our staff members, a gentleman called Harry, who's tirelessly trawled almost the streets of High Wycombe to find new participants to come on the programme who will benefit from what that particular programme offers. And we're now up to almost a full cohort of 8, with double figures coming, and those guys will be participating in some of the street soccer tournaments. One which takes place at St George's Park, the National Training Centre. We've got a couple of really handy players on there as well. You might have seen a video with one of the participants doing some fancy footwork and taking off the Wycombe shirt with a ball on his neck and then a little scissor kick goal, and you're like, wow. So yeah, really, really great news that programme's gotten to the size it is.
And Chairboys chat seems to be going from strength to strength as well, especially with the support of first team players getting involved.
Yeah, so the last Chairboys chat of the season took place this week, and Jason McCarthy kindly gave up his time and came onto the programme. And then it switches from Chairboys chat to Chairboys chores, where we come to the stadium and we do various bits sort of around the stadium to help with the new season prep, etc., which again just provides an opportunity for people to come together and talk, and then also support the club with valuable volunteering.
But also, it's great to hear about this new initiative involving darts, which is a fantastic sort of thing to be involved with as well for the club.
Yeah, so Blue Arrows launches in May, early in May, and we're super excited. We're jumping on the bandwagon, Colin. Let's be honest. Darts as a sport, I think, is really kind of in the spotlight at the moment and gaining great momentum. And we just thought, do you know what? It's something that we hadn't seen sort of any other football foundations offering that kind of provision, and it's, whilst a really challenging game, not something with physical restrictions really. So any age, any sort of ability level can come and have a go. So we're jumping on the momentum of the sport at the minute, and Blue Arrows, we've got a great location. We've also got some really enthusiastic staff. I know that there's a dartboard at the training ground as well, so some players are really into it. So I'm sure we'll get some special appearances, and one of our staff has some pretty good darts connections, so we're expecting some special guests, let's just say.
Oh, watch this space.
Watch this space indeed.
And as you touched on with the chores, I guess, with the football season coming to a close, that doesn't mean that the foundation's work is pausing for the summer either.
No. So our season is just ongoing, to be honest. The players will finish and head off on their holidays, and well deserved, I might add. And then sort of once the school holidays, our regular provision runs, and then the school holidays come, and actually Kellogg's have been kind enough to sponsor the whole summer camp provision for the Football League this summer. So there are Kellogg's football camps happening this summer, and there are access to free places via cereal boxes. So if you're a cereal fan, look out for that, and you can grab yourself a free spot on a WWF summer camp. And yeah, they'll run all through the summer. We've got multiple venues and lots going on.
And just finally, what's the message that you'd like to get across about the work that the foundation's doing at the moment?
Yeah, look, I think the key message would be, look, the football season might be finishing, but the foundation season doesn't. Lots happening, lots of ways of getting involved. We'd ask that you please follow us on social media, so that's at WWFCFDN, and come along and get involved.
Real pleasure to speak to you. Thank you very much for your time.
Pleasure, Colin.
Always a pleasure to chat to Mark Gaitskell, and do keep an eye on the work of Wycombe Wanderers Foundation, especially with the school holidays coming up. Sounds like some great projects. And of course, that Blue Arrows initiative, which kicks off next month. We'll find out more on that in the coming weeks as well. Make sure you don't miss it. Keep an eye on their website, as I say, and social media for more details. Now let's, though, turn our attention to Wycombe Wanderers Women. Just one league game left of their campaign. They've got some post-season friendlies coming up as well. There's an awards event next month, and before that, the Sponsors Cup, which is on the 12th of May against Maidenhead United at Burnham. If you're going along there to show your support, I'll see you there. Quite looking forward to going to that. But first, let's chat to Craig. And I guess, as we mentioned, a strange feeling coming to the end of the season so soon.
Yeah, it's gone really quick this season. I know we've had a bit of a stop-start sort of towards the end, sort of final third. but it's been a bit stop-started with the, cancellations and things like that for the weather. But I mean, the weekend's game was brilliant. To win any game is obviously important, but 7-0 is the girls were pretty jubilant afterwards, and to sort of cap it off as well, it was it's our captain Bobby Lynch, her birthday, so we was in the clubhouse afterwards as well, and had her a cake and sang her happy birthday. So it was a pretty good mood overall on the weekend.
And great to get so many goals, of course.
Absolutely. I think, you look at goal difference, and I know we're at a position of the season where, we obviously can't go down, but we're not going to go up, so goal difference is something that people don't necessarily look at as well. But I think, if you just look at the top teams in our league, Ascot have a goal difference of +17, and Bournemouth Sports have a very good goal difference of +28. So that win on Sunday gave us now a goal difference of +2 with one game to play against Warminster, who are just above us, and on a negative goal difference as well. So to keep, plugging away and to keep, those sort of mini targets during games is incredibly important.
And great to see those on the score sheet that we've spoken to recently on the show. Not that I'm claiming any credit, I can't say, speak to us and score goals. It's great.
Well, Axel, who spoke to you a few weeks ago, got her first goal for the club on the weekend. So, that's brilliant for her. She's had a lot of injury problems, not just since she joined us, but in her time before Wycombe as well. So for her to get I think it was 15, 20 minutes and to get a goal and a proper, I like to call it a proper striker's goal, 6-yard box, poacher, they all count. And, I think that's what I think she'll be really proud of. And it was really good. And Amari as well, she scored on Sunday. She scored twice. So, again, another one that you've had recently. I think she was with you last week. So, yeah, plenty of credit for Wycombe Sound as well, and you, Colin.
It's a very positive effect, clearly. Pass it on. But also nice, as we say, that we've spoken to Mark Gaitskell, the Chief Executive of the Foundation recently as well. Fantastic to get his input and also the Foundation's support behind Wycombe Wanderers Women going forward as well.
It really is. Obviously the Foundation based at Adams Park, as well, which is obviously huge as well, and to have more of a connection with them, and and the pathway that they can provide for our girls. We have an under-18s team and an under-23s team, and you've got the GDA as well, the Girls Development Group that we've already had players come through, like Emily Strange is a goalkeeper, and we've got Abby as well, who's in the under-18s playing in goal as well. So we are having girls, and there's even more that I've probably not even remembered. But the fact that that's going to be even stronger, and we're going to potentially have even more girls coming through that are sort of 15, 16 trialing out for the under-18s, and I think it just shows the pathway is there. I mean, just take the squad on Sunday. We had girls, who are playing in the under-18s at the beginning of the season, and they've sort of just matured and developed, and they've sort of understood the game even more, and Carl's brought them into the first team, and even girls from the under-23s like Jessie Poulter, captain the under-23s at the start of the season, and she's played in probably 4 or 5 games for the first team as well, and scoring the winner against Bournemouth Sports, who won the league. So the pathway is going to be there, and I think with the foundation the link's going to be even stronger, and the endless possibilities there. It's quite an exciting time to be a chair girl,
and really inspiring as well for anyone who wants to get involved. And I know you've got some talent ID events coming up too.
We do. If anyone is interested in becoming a chair girl or wants to try out to be a chair girl, then if you go onto our X profile, we've got a tweet pinned at the top of our profile. The talent IDs days are already happening, and we've had a few girls down, but there's going to be more during the close season. Come down, fill in the form, and management will be in touch to give you more information.
And one more league game to come against Warminster, and then I guess there'll be some post-season friendlies. So in a way, it doesn't really feel like the season's ending as such, but it just sort of continues on a little while. And great opportunity for some of the new signings, especially to really get to know the players and work on their game a bit more too.
I mean, we talked about Amani and Axel. One's just joined us recently. The other one is obviously coming back from injury. And yes, while the season does finish officially this Sunday against Warminster Town, who if we beat, we can leapfrog. So, nice little incentive there for the girls to finish the season strongly. But it also allows them to sort of get a bit more match fitness and get a bit more game time before we definitely shut up shop for a few weeks over the summer. But we do have the Sponsors Cup, which I think you're coming to, Colin, over the summer.
Very much looking forward to that.
So that's in a few weeks' time as well. So again, keep an eye out for socials, more information regarding the Sponsors Cup. Yeah, while the season does end, it has gone on longer than we expected. I think last season we were done by sort of February or very early March. So it's gone on a lot longer for a few different reasons. So I think some of the girls that have played in all these games and travelled a lot and done all these miles, some of them will be kind of grateful for the rest. But then obviously with these postseason friendlies, you can play under 18s, under 23s, give them opportunities in the first team, really sort of try some of maybe these girls come in for talent IDs, if, give them a try and some friendlies. So, it is going to be Wycombe Wanderers, but I certainly would expect a lot more sort of rotation and a lot more opportunities for different girls that it maybe didn't come in the season to sort of show what they can do.
And you must be so proud as well of the coverage that you've been able to give on social media, especially with the videos and all the other sort of updates that you've been able to do too.
It just makes me really proud. 2 years ago, I was asked to kind of, go and give these girls more coverage and give them, a platform to be able to not only show their footballing ability, but hopefully some of their personalities as well. And, over the last 2 years, along with Bobby, I think, we've both done our best to kind of do that. And yeah, it's really nice to sort of add video to their content and to social media to sort of really show people that can't come down or haven't been down yet to really show what you're missing and how good these players are and what brilliant people they are as well. So it's certainly a massive sense of pride for me. I'm a huge Wycombe Wanderers fan, have been since I was a little boy. So to be this involved is, from a personal point of view, is certainly a huge element of pride.
Really nice, especially I think, to, as you say, even just something simple like some post-match interviews with the manager or some of the players.
I mean, it happens every week. We'll do our best to sort of ask the right questions and ask the players and the management team what they think. And again, it's these long away days like Warminster on Sundays. Best part of 2 hours away, but we can try our best to make people feel like they're there, and with the highlights and the pictures if we're lucky. And a big thank you has to actually go out to Charlie Carter, who does come to a hell of a lot of our games and takes some of the the best pitchside pictures that we think is out there. And without him, we wouldn't be able to make these graphics and make these cool things to show people and to attract people to the club. And with him and the videos and stuff, we just try and bring people on a journey, and I think that's been the biggest sort of like that's been the biggest thing for us, to be able to like bring people with us on these long away days and to think to people, once next time we're at home, maybe come down and maybe come and watch us.
And a big thanks to you as well for your help with all the interviews that we've had on the show this season as well, as we come towards the end of not only the season, but of course this season of the Wycombe Wanderers Show.
I play a very small role in that. Like, honestly, the credit has to go to the girls that come on and do these interviews, and whereas the senior players have done really well, and we've always been impressed from the senior players' point of view. I think both of us have been incredibly proud and happy with how our younger players have done when they've come on. I think you've been certainly blown away by how mature some of them are.
No, absolutely. I can't imagine myself speaking so well at that age.
I definitely didn't, and I know Luke said it as well on air a couple of times that to think some of them are like sort of 17, 18. I mean, I definitely wasn't that mature and that switched on at that age.
It also, I think, just goes to show how being a part of the football club can really help in their development too.
Yeah, I think the ones that are coming in now just accept that the interviews and the social media is just part of it. Whereas some of the girls that maybe haven't had that, it's like, oh, there's this brand new thing that 2 years ago we started doing. And I've seen myself how, even some of the senior players that were with us last season or were with us at the time, still with us now, sorry, they were a little bit unsure and do I sound silly or am I saying the right thing or what questions are you going to ask me? Whereas now it's like, oh, can I interview someone? They're like, brilliant, cool. And they just do it. And it's just part of their makeup. It's part of sort of a match day, or if I'm at training and do something. So whenever, anybody goes to Wycombe Sound, these young players, they'll listen to these interviews from the senior players. So they're not scared. They're not concerned. They know it's going to be a fun interview, and they get to sort of kind of show themselves off a little bit, and rightly so.
No, absolutely. And it's fantastic for other people to get an insight into, as you say, what they do outside of football as well. That's been really nice.
Yeah, I think that's important to kind of get across that these girls, they all have they're all at school or they have full-time jobs. And at the moment, at this very point in time, these girls have to put their hand in their pocket to play football. They don't get paid. They very much, do this because they love doing it and they love playing football and they love playing for Wycombe Wanderers. And these girls, they could be at work all day or school all day, and then they've got to go, right, I've got maybe an hour or two, have some food, get dressed, and then I have to still travel to Burnham to train, and that's twice a week, and then on Sundays or Saturdays for the under 18s. So the level of commitment that these girls show is pretty up there. It certainly can't be knocked at all, and credit to the club.
Well, enjoy the end of the season, and look forward to seeing you at the Sponsors Cup.
You too, Colin. See you then.
Always a pleasure to chat to Craig, and big thanks again for his help in organising our chats throughout the season as well, with Wycombe Wanderers women's players and staff as well. We're due, as mentioned, to have Carl Simon on next week's show, which will be fantastic, and wish them all the best for their final league game of the season on Sunday away to Warminster. Lots to follow the Chair girls about there, so do keep an eye on their social media too. As mentioned, Carl Simon due to be joining us next week to do a bit of a season review on Wycombe Wanderers Women. That's it for this week. As mentioned, I'm sure you're aware, Charlton Athletic, the visitors to Adams Park. It's a 12:30 kickoff on Saturday, the final League One game of the season. No playoffs this year. You might be relieved to know, in a way. The battle for 10th in League One. If you're going, enjoy the game, enjoy the celebrations. It's always good, isn't it, having the last game of the season at home. You get the player awards, player of the season, that sort of thing. And it's always a great atmosphere. And, of course, marking 400 appearances for Joe Jacobson. His final run out for the team as well. It's been his testimonial year, celebrating 10 years. Brilliant to, as we mentioned with Phil a little earlier on, applaud the achievements of manager Matt Bloomfield in his first season in charge. It's been a fantastic and certainly eventful campaign, but I'm sure he'll be really pleased with how the certainly 2024 side of it has gone after a fantastic transfer window. Some of the great names who've turned out for the Chairboys in the past few months. Looking forward to what's due to be our last show next week. A number of surprises. By which I mean, even I'm not sure what's quite going to happen. But one thing, a couple of things are almost certain. We'll hear from Carl Simon, as mentioned, the Wycombe Wanderers Women manager. We'll have a compilation of the Wycombe Wanderers Ex-Players Association members that we've spoken to of late. And yes, a few other things in the pipeline, as they say, which hopefully will include a chat with the manager as well. And maybe a first-team player. And yeah, perhaps some other surprises too. Let's hope so anyway. Final one of the season. We'll bring games. It'll be great. And lots of people to thank as well next week. And of course, we'll be looking at our predictions too, where we thought the club would end up, which is always interesting / embarrassing. Have a great week. Enjoy the final game at Adams Park on Saturday.